we ready to go? There we go.
You're all set, Chairperson.
Okay, this meeting is taking place entirely by teleconference via Zoom. The public is accessing the meeting via Santa Ana YouTube channel or the city's website. The subcommittee members and I, along with staff and recording secretary, are in different locations. Please bear with us as the technology may disrupt the flow of the meeting. So good evening, everybody. I would like to call the October 3rd, 2022 Joint School Collaboration City Council Subcommittee regular meeting to order at 6:04. Will the recording secretary please call roll?
Thank you, Chairperson. Subcommittee Member Mendoza. Subcommittee Member Hernandez. Subcommittee Member Alvarez.
Present.
Subcommittee Member Lopez.
Here.
Chairperson Torres.
Present.
You have a quorum, Chairperson.
Thank you. Dr. Alvarez, can you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
All right, ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. So next on the agenda item is public comments. Recording secretary, does anybody wish to speak? I see hands.
Thank you, Chairperson. Yes, we do have several speakers this evening. We will go ahead and start with Speaker Marisela Guzman. Marisela, you have 3 minutes for your public comment. Go ahead.
Hi, my name is Marisela Guzman. I'm a parent of several children at the SAUSD district, ranging from preschool all the way to middle school. I have 7 enrolled right now, and the item on the agenda I would like to address is the crossing guard. I know that you guys have been working towards maybe collaborating and as far as the expenses is concerned, and I understand that Councilmember Ms. Pham mentioned about a grant, and I was wondering if you guys can tell us how soon we can go ahead and get a crossing guard at Jefferson Elementary. As mentioned in previous meetings, I've had the unfortunate occasion where it's been 5 times now that my kids are almost ran over by people driving, and it's usually parents because they're the ones driving, because it's a lot of traffic in that area. In addition to, there's a lot of spaces where it's no parking and it's by permit only. So parents have either stopped in mid street to let their kids out, or can't see the traffic flow on either direction on Adams when coming from the streets across the elementary school at Jefferson. So I really want you guys to take that into consideration. It might not be a major street, but again, the kids are at risk of getting ran over or getting hurt, and let's not wait until that happens to get crossing guards, and not just Jefferson, but elementary. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Thank you very much. Next up, we have iPhone. iPhone, you have 3 minutes for your comment. Go ahead. iPhone, you are muted. iPhone, can you hear me? ¿Me puede escuchar que la persona que tiene el iPhone? Okay, we're gonna go ahead and come back to iPhone. Up next, Martha Cruz. Martha, you have 3 minutes for your comment. Go ahead.
Hello, this is Alberto Cruz and Marta Cruz. We are the parents of 2 children that are also in Jefferson Elementary. And we were also concerned about the crosswalk there, because we have seen some incidents that got pretty close. So yeah, also the same thing that Ms. Guzman said, that we really want for you guys to look into getting us a cross guard. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for your comment. I appreciate that. Up next, we have Claudia Velazquez. You have 3 minutes for your comment. Go ahead.
Sí, buenas tardes. Mi nombre es Claudia Velázquez y soy una mamá representando a la escuela Jefferson también. Estoy aquí también porque mi preocupación también es por el cruce de personas. En todos los días llevo a mi hijo a la escuela Jefferson y al cruzar siempre hay mucho problema con el tráfico, con los autobuses corriendo rápido y eso me preocupa mucho porque la seguridad de los niños no está segura. Entonces quisiéramos que nos apoyaran con tener esa persona cuando ustedes lo más que puedan, por favor. Gracias.
Thank you.
Thank you for your comment. Up next, we have, I believe we have Mr. Carl Benninger. Mr. Benninger, you have 3 minutes for your comment.
Thank you very much. Good evening to the board and everyone. I'm here again because we have not resolved yet the neighborhoods being able to meet in the schools. In fact, I'm very disappointed last meeting to hear mention that maybe we should look in the city. We have, and there's a number of our neighborhood associations who meet very well in the city. There's none of them that have used driveways because they cannot get into the school system. And the sad point is we've been doing this for 30 years without a problem. Why suddenly now there's a problem? The city has stated that it would cover the insurance, so the school system there's buildings is protected. Plus on top of it, we have 30 years experience where we have not damaged the school in any way. And it's not all of the schools that we need. We've given you the schedule. We've given the frequency of the meetings. You have all that information. I don't understand why, because we are taxpayers of not only of the city of Santa Ana, but also of the Santa Ana schools. And so it seems, I don't understand why we as taxpayers as having difficulty using the facilities that we've used in the past and have used it in a good faith and have not damaged it in 30 years. So why we cannot get off from dead center and get those last few rooms that we need, which again, it's not all of our group, but come getting colder out and come a few months, we won't be able to meet outside. And it's sad because even some of your principals realize the importance of neighborhood meetings for the school. And we totally agree. The school board is more than welcome anytime to speak to any of our groups. And so I just don't understand where the hangup is. So thank you. Whatever we can do to resolve this, I would appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for your comment. Up next is Yaretsi Velazquez. Felix. Ms. Felix, you have 3 minutes for your comment. Go ahead.
Sí, gracias. Buenas tardes. Mi nombre es Ivonne Félix. Mi hija es Yaretsi Velázquez. Soy de la escuela Jefferson Elementary y al igual que mis compañeros padres de familia, mi preocupación es por el crossing guard. Necesitamos una persona que maneje el tráfico tanto para que los padres que van en auto como para los niños con sus papás que van atravesando las calles no corran peligro, porque se congestiona mucho al momento de acercarse la hora de cerrar las puertas de la escuela y en varias ocasiones, pues lamentablemente los padres han tenido que intervenir para evitar que le suceda algo a los niños que atienden la escuela. Anteriormente los padres podíamos donar y ser voluntarios, pero ya no se puede, entonces sí necesitamos el apoyo para que nos puedan proveer de un crossing guard. Gracias.
Thank you.
Thank you for your comment. Up next, we have Lorena Rivas. Lorena Rivas, you have 3 minutes for your comment. Go ahead.
Buenas tardes a todos. Mi nombre es Lorena Rivas. Tengo 3 hijos. El más chiquito es el más pequeño, está en la escuela Jefferson. Soy voluntaria he sido voluntaria por 9 años y 8 años miembro del comité de ILAC. y pues mi preocupación es lo mismo que mis compañeras, el cruce de los niños. Necesitamos una persona que los cruce, porque la verdad sí es peligroso. Hay niños que están muy pequeños y a veces se atraviesan. Pues para mí sí se me hace peligroso y sí me gustaría que nos apoyaran con eso. Pues sería todo y muchas gracias.
Thank you for your comment. Up next is Mireya G. Mireya G, you have 3 minutes for your comment. Go ahead.
Hi, thank you. My name's Jose. I'm Mireya's husband. I have 2 kids that go to Jefferson Elementary. And just to piggyback on what everybody else is saying, the traffic there on Adams and Rita Way, there's 2 crosswalks there. And it's an absolute nightmare for these kids. No accidents have happened, but why wait for one to happen where we could probably invest some money into some cross guards and prevent these accidents from happening, because eventually they probably will happen just because of how kind of out of control it is. I'd invite the school board. I'd be more than happy to stand there on the corner with you and just observe what happens on every morning or everyday basis during pickup or drop off. I get it, you guys. It's one thing to hear it from all of us here, but it's another thing to actually see it in person. And I'd be more than happy to stand with you on the corner. And we don't have to say anything to anybody, but just watch to see the madness that happens there and how a crosswalk would mitigate some of these issues. I do know that there is a crosswalk on Adams and Ray, who essentially serves McFadden Intermediate. And this crosswalk is very proactive and it's very orderly. And there's no nightmares, there's no issues going on there. And that's for the middle school kids. And I like to ask the school board to invest some money in the younger ones too, the elementary school kids, because you have 2 crosswalks there that are pretty dangerous and it's an accident waiting to happen. And I feel like, if you already know that it can happen, why not just prevent it and throw some money into a cross guard there? That's all I have to say. It's up to the school board if you guys want to do something about this or not, but I just want you guys to know that it is an issue, and it'd be nice if you guys maybe throw some money to Jefferson and invest it into them in that crosswalk. And if not, then at least just go out there and just stand with the parents and just so you can see how bad it is. That's all. Thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
Thank you for your comment. We'll go back to iPhone. iPhone, if you can hear me, you can go ahead and provide your comment. You have 3 minutes. Okay, I think we still are having some issues with iPhone. Chairperson, at the pleasure of the subcommittee, we do have Ms. Maricela Guzman, who has made a comment and gave her 3 minutes already. At the pleasure of the subcommittee, if you would like to entertain another comment from the individual, Ms. Guzman.
Is it the same item?
No.
Then I'll leave it up to our discretion. What do we want to do?
I'm fine with that. I'm fine with allowing it.
Yeah, if we can make sure at the beginning of the next meeting to emphasize that they will only get one time to make public comment, but it's okay this time.
Go ahead, Ms. Guzman. You have 3 minutes for the comment.
Yes, the other topic, I believe it's an update on your last meeting. And I think one of the items that Councilmember Hernandez brought up was the Catalina Island, the field trip for the middle schoolers. He did propose to where maybe the city could work with the district to provide funds for more kids to attend that. And that's one of the items that I would like to advocate for. Being a mom of 9, it's really hard for me to afford $375 for my child to go. So even allowing maybe fundraisers for the middle school that don't have PTOs or PTAs at the moment would certainly help us parents to get our children to go. Because like Councilmember Hernandez said, it's a great opportunity. Unfortunately, my son, who's in 7th grade, couldn't go to his science camp because of COVID when he was in 5th grade that they usually get to go to, provided by Jefferson. So it's something that I would like for you guys to consider, as well as maybe translating these meetings into Spanish, just so the members from our community that are present that don't speak English can understand these meetings. But thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for your comment. We'll try iPhone once again. iPhone, if you can hear us, You can go ahead and provide your comments. You have 3 minutes.
I think that was me. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay, good. My name is Joanna Barajas. I currently have a fourth grader at Jefferson. And also I have a daughter that attended Jefferson and now she's a freshman, and myself went to Jefferson. So I literally like four houses down Jefferson, and I've lived there all my life. And I'm going on here because I've seen it all. And it is very important that you guys consider putting in a cross person there, cross guard, to help us and avoid a lot of like the problems that we're having. I've lived there, like I said, for pretty much all my life, and I've seen it all. Parents fighting because it's really dangerous. Kids almost gotten ran over, parents trying to help out, but we really need someone to endorse that and make it like a daily a daily thing that we have of a cross guard there to help us and structure the pathway for all the kids to be safe, and as well as the parents that are crossing there with the kids.
Thank you for your comments. We appreciate that. Chairperson, that brings us to the end of public comments.
Okay, thank you. So we're going to move on to the consent calendar. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes from August 1st, 2022 and the excused absences?
I'll make the motion to approve.
Thank you, Councilmember Lopez. Can I have the second?
Motion to approve.
Second by Dr. Alvarez. Do we do a roll call on this one, Mr. Sandoval?
It's not necessary, Chairperson.
Okay. So we could just do all those in favor?
That is correct.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstain? Okay,
Duly noted.
thank you. All right, so we have 6 items under new business. 3, 4, and 5 were actually put on by Councilmember Mendoza. I don't know that she is here from what I can see, but that doesn't prevent us from looking at the item. The first one is the SAUSD classroom for community meetings without a fee. Can I have clarification? Is that for community meetings or neighborhood association meetings? Was there a distinction being made on that?
Chairperson, that's the way Subcommittee Member Mendoza submitted the item for the business calendar. So I do not know whether she meant just community or neighborhood associations.
Do any members want to speak?
I might be able to bring some clarity to that, Ms.
Okay.
Torres.
Go ahead, Mr. Armendariz.
I'll go ahead and jump right in. So currently, the district has an administrative reg, number 1330, which talks about fostering community involvement and development. And that admin reg allows our facilities to be used free of cost during the school day. So if any community organization wishes to use our facilities during the school day, they ask is that they reach out to the site principals and work it out with the site principals. Anything after the school day, that falls under the admin reg 1330, which is the Civic Center Act. And that requires a cost for the use of the facilities because staff is no longer available. The district would have to pick up the cost of staff and other utility costs. So, to answer the public's question, can community organizations use our facilities for free? Yes, under the admin reg 1330. It's completely authorized within the school day. Anything outside of the school day, the admin reg indicates that the organization must go through the Civic Center Act.
Okay, do I have any comments by any of Ms. Mendoza is not here, but is there any other comments or questions from our other committee committee members?
The other thing that, in addition to what our superintendent mentioned, I just wanted to bring clarity. I think all along we those of us on this committee have said that we're open to allowing the community to use our facilities. But I think the stumbling block that we encountered from the very beginning when we started having these conversations was the education code. Education code 38130 is the Civic Center Act. That section of the educational code states that we have to make a good faith effort to allow community organizations to use our facilities. However, there is a provision that says that we may charge for fair rental value. But the area that I wanted to point out, which I think was our major barrier from the very beginning, is that there's section I of the Ed Code. Under that section states that any group using school facilities or grounds under subdivision A shall be liable for any injuries resulting from the negligence of the group during the use of those facilities or grounds. The district and the group shall each bear the cost of insuring against its respective risk and shall each bear the cost of defending themselves against claims arising from those risks. Notwithstanding any other provision of law, this subdivision shall not be waived. So this section of the education code states that we can't waive the liability issue. We can't waive the insurance issue. And one of the things that what the superintendent talked about is that there is a way that we can accommodate the different neighborhood groups that want to use our facilities. The thing is that for no cost use, they would have to use it during school hours, and they would have to make those arrangements with the principal. That's all.
Any other comment, Councilmember Lopez?
Yeah, thank you, Chair. I have a question for staff. I'd like some clarity. I heard the comment that the city stated that they wanted to cover the insurance. Has a recommendation been made to the council or to the school board that I'm unaware of?
Thank you, Subcommittee Member Lopez. I don't have that information with me, Subcommittee Lopez. I do believe we would have had Margarita Macedonio would have joined us, but she is out ill. So we will go ahead and point that question to her and see if she can provide us some information, and then maybe bring that up at the next meeting as well.
Okay, thank you. And Superintendent, I guess staff will get clarity from me on the city side, but for the school board side, can you let me know if there's been a recommendation that's come out of the board?
Well, the recommendation is the policy that currently exists, and so
Okay.
the answer to the question is: can our community and community organizations use our facilities for free? The answer is yes,
Okay.
as long as it's within the school day. And then the facilities fall under the Civic Center Act, anything after the school day.
Okay, thank you.
And then I did want to clarify, because I feel like we're conflating two things. There's the neighborhood associations, and then there's general community groups. So those are two distinct things. I did want to know two meetings ago, that the city manager did say that the neighborhood associations are not part of the city, which was very confusing for me, because I always assumed the neighborhood associations were part of the city as they get approved by the city clerk, or they go through the city clerk. And that she said essentially if the city was paying for the fees, they would be paying for a third party, as if the neighborhood associations are a third party. And so that was really confusing for me at the time. So I do want to make sure we're being clear when we're talking about neighborhood associations versus general community groups. And if that process is different for the city, if in terms of payment, if it's going to be different for city and neighborhood, like those distinctions, I think kind of matter when we're talking about fees. Aside from our district end and our board policies and our admin regulations, I'm talking about the other side, because the advocacy I've been hearing is for the neighborhood associations. The community meetings, I think, sound different, but I don't know the intention of Ms. Mendoza's agenda item.
Well, I do want to add that during our first meeting, we did discuss briefly that we wanted to make sure that community organizations also had access So it just wasn't the neighborhood associations, but it was, the grassroots orgs like Vela, et cetera, that normally aren't necessarily recognized as neighborhood associations.
And I think
I can bring some clarity to that. I'll go ahead and read you the section of the admin reg. It says, therefore, the board authorizes the use of facilities by district residents and community groups for the purpose specified in the Civic Center Act. So it's very general and broad. But this admin reg indicates that it's free for those organizations that use it during the school day. And then outside of the school day, the Civic Center Act comes in where we have to charge for the additional personnel, the custodial, and the utilities.
Okay. Because I think some of the conversation that has to be had is the city going to pay for that for the neighborhood associations? And I don't know what conversations have been had with the city, with the neighborhood association, because we're not really privy to that. But yeah, other than the comment that was made, but yeah. Okay, so if there's nothing else on this, we can move on to the next one and continue this conversation. Our superintendent is here to bring that back to his discussions with the city manager. The next item is number 4, nonprofit organizations raising money for school-related items. Do we know the intention of that agenda item?
Again, Chairperson, those were items that were brought forth by Subcommittee Member Mendoza, as well as, I believe, number 5 as well. Unfortunately, I don't have any information for nonprofit organizations that she brought up. However, if we want to table that for the next meeting, number 5, proposal for joint expense for school crossing guards. We do have Executive Director Nabil Sama from Public Works that can provide us some information on that. If you so, please decide to move on to the next item.
Okay, we can table item 4 and then move on to number 5, the school crossing guards.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Let me go ahead and introduce Public Works Director Nabil Saba that can provide us some information on this item. Nabil?
Yes, good evening, board members and council persons. And Nabil Saba, Executive Director of Public Works Agency. I just have a quick update for you. We are still studying a few locations. I just recently met with the principal at the Heroes Elementary School for a request for a crossing guard. So we have actively implemented a warrant study, which is something that our traffic engineers do to justify the request of crossing guard. And this evening, the Jefferson Elementary crossing guard request has surfaced. I have not been aware of that request, but we will study it and make sure that we are looking at the location. But from the comments, I really didn't get the exact location on where the community is looking for the crossing guard, but that's something we probably can look at the Adams and Pacific or somewhere in that area, or Rita Way and Adams. I am not sure where that request specifically will be, but we will study that location. And again, the funding still is an issue. Once these crossing guard requests come in and justified by the warrant, then we would be coming to our finance department to look for ways to pay for them. And again, we look for the for the school district participation and funding and helping us with this program. It's not like we don't want to add crossing guards. We see the need, and we are more than willing to implement it and study the locations. But again, funding is still a challenge for us. And that's my update.
Mr. Almendarez, was an update on your end? No?
Well, there was a comment made at the last board meeting regarding a grant. And when I reached out, when I met with the city manager, we were really unclear as to what the city council member, what grant the city council member was referring to. But there is a safe route to schools grant that the government offers that is potentially a source of revenue for crossing guards.
Okay, and do any of the subcommittee members want to speak on this?
Yeah, I have a question for staff, school board staff. Jerry, do you know if there's any plans for your end to apply to the grant?
Districts are not eligible. The eligible agencies are cities or counties for the Safe Route to Schools grant.
Okay. Now, Bill, do you know if there's any plans on our end to apply for the grant?
We do apply for Safe Route to Schools all the time, and we have put in for improvement and intersection next to schools. And I believe that staff applied for 21 different grants this time around. Some of them is Safe Route to School grants, but I'm not really sure if crossing guard is an allowable expense, but I'd have to look into that.
Can you look into it and can you let the council know, please?
Sure.
Or the subcommittee as well. That way everybody's on the same page, because it seems like everybody has ideas out there, but as we just learned, the school district's not allowed to apply for that. So does staff have a recommendation? Because I know this is one of the topics we first discussed when we started meeting. Has there any movement been from either the city's end or the school districts to somehow find a happy medium in terms of cost sharing?
No, I did want to circle back because I remember, we went over the history. So initially this cost was under the police department. And then 2020, it got moved out of the police department into the general fund. Is that correct? Is my memory correct on that?
That's correct. The police department is, however, funded through the general fund, which is one and the same.
But it was moved out. That was what was said last time. It was moved out of the police, under the police department's funding or portion of funding into the outside of it.
That's correct.
Okay, and then since it was moved out in 2020, is that when the questions around the district paying started?
Well, what happened is when we inherited the program from PD, it was funded at about $1 million. And then COVID came in, and then we went out to an RFP to retain a new vendor or a vendor to supply that service for us. And because of the level of insurance and the number of, and just cost of the service itself increased, the general fund could not, that $1 million that we got from PD as an existing program is not sufficient to sustain the program.
Because of insurance costs or because of the increase in sites?
It's both. It's insurance and just cost of doing the business itself, paying for the crossing guards, benefits, and those other things, just, minimum wages changed and those kind of expenses.
Other than this space, if a community like Jefferson, they want crossing guards, what would be the normal process? Who would they talk to in the city to get the crossing guards?
I would talk to us.
No, but who do they, is there a title that they would email? Like who do they email to ask about that?
Traffic engineering, myself, I handle all the requests myself.
Is that available on the city website?
Just email me, Nabil Saba at santa-ana.org is the way to go. That's how you get stuff accomplished here in city.
I know, but most residents don't know. They're just gonna post on social media. They don't know who to email.
Sure, it's
in the city structure to get crossing guards. Like even like you said, you weren't aware of Jefferson, but they could. So this space provided for them to voice their concerns, and so now you know. But if there's is this?
Right, they can call the general number for the city, which is 714-647-3380.
Okay, so the question is, at least on your end, is that you don't believe you have the funding, and so you want the school district to help with the cost of the crossing guards, which are traditionally under the city's jurisdiction.
Yes.
But in the meantime, people can still email you and ask for crossing guards.
Yes.
I will add yes, because currently the city has the contract for folks, just as a point of reference. I wasn't here for the last meeting, so I'm assuming I missed some of the conversation that happened. So the city does own the contract now, but this was brought to the subcommittee as a whole to figure out how we can work together. Granted that the city, you know, is paying for the crosswalk contracts, and how we could work together with the district. So that's going back to my question, Jerry. Nabil, I don't know if staff has continued those conversations outside of the space.
So I'll share this, and yes, we've had a number of conversations with the city staff, very, very collaborative, very collegial. And I think the challenge comes in the question of where do we find that happy medium? So there are issues where the district feels like the city is charging the district, and there are issues where the city feels like the district is charging the city. And so the question is, we have to identify like all of the agreements that the city has with the district and put them all out so we can see where that balance is. And I think in my conversations with the city staff, there is more than a willingness to do that. I think everybody wants to be fair and reasonable. We want to do what's right for the community. It's just there are so many agreements out there, some memorialized and some that have not been memorialized, that we're kind of sifting through and making sure that we cover all of our angles, because a lot of them have to do with potential liability issues, or most of them have to do with potential liability issues. And we just have to make sure that we're both covered in the sense that we protect our community members as well as each agencies.
Okay, thank you. And I think lastly for me, is there some sort of timeline that staff has in terms of when they're going to discuss all these contracts that exist to get to some sort of resolution?
Well, I would say that yes, we do have like a template and an outline. We've identified all of the agreements that we have on record as a district. I know the city is going through the same thing. It should not be a fairly long process. I think where the challenge comes is once we begin to enter into these conversations, it's the parameters that were given, the city staff and myself and my staff, the parameters that were given to move in a particular direction, because it will take a majority of the council and it will take a majority of the school board to make a decision. And I think, it's just a complicated conversation that has to take place.
It is. I just want to make sure that it's moving along, because as I said, this is one of the first items we discussed. So I'm happy to keep discussing it, but I want to see it move forward. If that makes sense for everyone.
Thank you. Any other comments by subcommittee members? Yeah, so it is, I think there's conversations, so that's good. Some of those conversations have been, I think partially, at least some of it in closed session. And then, but I do want to be clear, right? So as of right now, that it's the city's jurisdiction. The city is asking the district for help, but for right now, the city is in charge of the crossing guards unless we have some agreement in which we decide as a school board to cover the cost. So I just want to make sure people know that they're still going to the city as of right now until things change, because I don't want them to think that there's nowhere to go. And so was there any other, I think that was it. And I do see Ms. Mendoza on the item on our meeting today. We're at number 6, the homeless SAUSD students. I think that was supposed to be as McKinney-Vento students. We tend to not use homeless as a phrase for our students.
That was my fault. That was
sorry.
how I submitted. No, I'm sorry. I didn't know. So thank you for letting me know. That's how I submitted the request to our staff. So that was my bad.
So McKinney-Vento is it the statute? Is that the name of the statute? Or is it the policy? Dr. Alvarez, you probably know, what is it?
That's the federal regulations, which define what a homeless person is.
Yeah, so when we talk about our students struggling with housing insecurity, we often, the label would be McKinney-Vento, because they would fall under that category. Who was wanted to speak on this? Was it Dr. Alvarez?
Well, I wanted us to engage, to start the dialogue regarding this issue. Over time, the city of Santa Ana has addressed the homeless issue in different ways, but one of the things that I feel that we need to work on is taking a look at how we can work together to help those kids, the McKinney-Vento kids. The McKinney-Vento federal definition of homelessness includes those kids that are living in structures not suitable for human habitation, garages, sheds, cars. It also includes students that have no permanent place to live, students that are couch surfing, students that are moving from hotel to hotel room. And one of the things that we have done on our end is we do have a GIS map that has all of the kids that we've identified. We have the map and we know what geographical area they're in. According to our official numbers, we have, I believe, 5,800 kids that fall under the McKinney-Vento definition. However, I suspect that the number is closer to 10,000. And the reason I say that is because in order for a student or family to be classified as McKinney-Vento, they have to self-identify. And like with a lot of these kids, they don't identify as having housing insecurity. They're living 1 week with their aunt and then the next week with their uncle. In their minds, everybody's saying, oh, we have a place to live, we're with families. But the thing is, the housing insecurity is part of the definition of homeless. Things that we have done, like I mentioned, we do have a GIS map showing all the clusters where all our McKinney-Vento students are at. We do provide through our efforts to outreach to those kids. We do provide, in addition to the school lunches and school breakfast that they get, on weekends we do provide sometimes hot food depending on the donors that we get. We also have resources available through the different phone banks. We make sure that we tend to all their needs. If we identify that they need clothing or school supplies or anything like that, we will work to accommodate them to make sure that they have everything that they need. And at this point, I just wanted to turn it over to Jerry if he had anything else you want to add.
Just ditto to everything you said, Dr. Alvarez. The district spends about $253,000 over a 3-year period. A lot of that money is from the American Rescue Plan Act, and it goes towards food items, shelter, other socio-emotional areas to make sure the kids' devices, and just a number of different trainings for staff for staff development to make them aware of our at-promise students and the conditions that they're having to navigate in order to be successful in the classroom. And actually, I would go on to say that this is probably a really good opportunity and a big win for a collaborative effort between the city and the district to really pull together and work on this issue. We have homeless adults in the city, but we also have homeless students. And so some of the areas of work that we're both doing really do overlap and could be beneficial to the community and to our families.
Any other comments?
Yeah, so thank you for that brief summary, Dr. Alvarez. And Jerry, it's one of the reasons why I supported having this item on the agenda, because I do believe that it is an area that the city and the school district must work together. On our end with the city, we're trying to do everything to make sure that the homelessness numbers are not increasing. National data is showing that evictions are leading the cause of homelessness right now. And I want to make sure that students here in the city of Santa Ana, I know that the school district is supporting them, but the question was, how can the city help the school district? How can the city and the school district work together to ensure that those numbers decrease rapidly year after year?
We would love to work to have a joint staff and city staff and district collaborative effort. A good example of that, council member, is the College and Career Fair night. That was an amazing community event. We had over approximately 4,000 community members participate in that. It was a joint effort between the city of Santa Ana and the school district. And I think we had a huge impact with over 4,000 attendees. And I think if we put our heads together like we did for the College and Career Fair, we can move some mountains when it comes to our homeless issue in the city as well. And our staff would love to meet with the city staff and kind of collaborate to see what are some areas that we overlap and what are some gaps that we can fill for the city and what are some gaps the city can help fill for the district as well.
Okay, so then you're gonna initiate that conversation with our city manager, Christine.
That is outside my scope of responsibility as part of this committee, but I will do as my board.
Delegate, Jerry, I like to delegate. Okay, so then I will, Councilmember Mendoza, I know that you're on the call. Hopefully I can receive your support so that we can speak with our city manager and help push, or nudge staff to have those conversations with the district.
Yes, definitely. I agree. You have my support.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Alvarez and Councilwoman Lopez, for putting on the agenda. It's really important because folks often think that like our houseless neighbors are just adults. Like, I don't know how shocking the 5,800 as a number was for folks watching and knowing that it's more. And I also think we can work on, aside from policy, we can also work on the messaging when we talk about our houseless neighbors, like as a city and as a school district. A lot of folks will want to say, oh, the homeless, and it's almost this kind of dehumanizing language when we're talking about like, some of our students and their families or recent graduates, right? And so we want to make sure that as we're pushing forward policy that's helpful and we work together, that we can also work on language that humanizes folks' experiences, because, it's a crisis. It's a crisis nationwide, and it's a crisis here. And we're talking about human beings and our neighbors and our graduates. And I was at the, I've been going to a lot of the SAC events. So I went to the Project Kinship Conference, and I went to the prison to university transfer fair. And I think some of our more marginalized populations, people just want to push them away and that just makes kind of things worse. And so I would really like us to be able to work on some of these things together, because we only have our students for a certain amount of time, and then they're the city, right? And then they're in the city, and then they become parents, and then they're the parents of our students, right? And so we need to have like this holistic, full community view when we look at some of the issues that we need to work on as a community. So thank you for bringing this up. If there are no more, we're going to move on to 7, which is standing items, which I think we discussed most of those though. So if we're okay, I would like to move on to the next one, cultural events. This one was I just want some clarity. This was my item that I brought in. There's been a lot of really awesome cultural events the city has put on, more than I'm used to seeing. It's been really, really good. So shout out to the city council for putting on so many it's like every month, right? There's like multiple events going on, and I try to go to all of them. There's always like a good turnout. I went to the Mid-Autumn Festival. I went to, Chicano Heritage, all these things. And I usually see like a table for the district, but we haven't been getting, at least I haven't been getting, I don't know, Dr. Alvarez, if you have, I haven't been getting like invitations as board members to any of these community events, cultural events. And I want to check with you all first, and then also Mr. Almendades, since you're here as well, if your office has been getting them. I just want to figure out if there's a miscommunication, because I want to go. I want to be invited. I just usually just see something on IG and then I just show up. But I don't know where the drop in communication is happening.
So I'll kind of address what we've seen over the past. It always boils down to communication. I believe that the city staff are informing our schools and our community, but it may be in isolation. And my ask would be, in addition to the city staff informing the schools or their direct contact, is to let my office know. That way we can make sure that we get the information out to the board. as well. So, and I know we're guilty of that as well too. We have events and we there's a breakdown in communication on our end, but I think there's always room for improvement. So if any community event takes place, I would just ask that we include my office as a part of that email strand. That way we're able to inform the board.
Okay, I see a hand for Hawk Scott. I see is that person a staff member for the city?
He is our Parks and Recs director.
Okay, then yes, I'll call him. Go ahead, Mr. Scott. Mr. Scott.
Yeah, hi. Yeah, I just want to let you guys know that Santa Ana Unified has been at all of our events with a tent and information. So we do get the information out.
Yeah, no, I said that. I see the tables. I always see the picture in front of them. I as the board though, I'm not getting any information.
If we had a point okay, well, we can let Rosa know, who's our point of contact, but we do send it out.
Yeah, I know we're getting it. It's just not getting to us. So that's what we're saying. If you can get it to the superintendent's office so that there's a drop happening somewhere. It might be on our end, but I just wanted to call attention to that because I don't want folks thinking that the school board isn't showing up to like city cultural events because it's really important to our district, especially with ethnic studies initiative. So if you're sending it, great, add Mr. Almondada's office.
All right.
Have an email whenever you send it out so that we can for sure get the invite. Because I do see the tables. And then the other thing on that, I'm sorry, before I go, Ms. Lopez, did you have anything? No. Okay.
No. I think on our end, Councilmember Mendoza and I can also mention this to Christine to make sure that the entire board is being invited. You are dignitaries in the city of Santa Ana as well. And part of this process is to make sure that we have a working relationship with the school district, the school board. So on my end, we're happy to make that statement to our staff as well.
And then maybe not initially, but at some point, I know if we can figure out who to, because people ask me like how to table. And this was true of our career in college night, as well as the city only sponsored events. There's like community groups like SAS and Thusa and Sullivan, other kind of community organizations that would like to have a table at these events too. And I'm hoping that there'll be space for them at both the district event, the district community events and the joint and the city community events, because it's great to see all the folks there, but there's other community groups that could go and be a resource to the community as well. I think that is it. If there's nothing else on this item. Okay. So we're going to 8. Okay, so we're going to do our subcommittee comments, member comments. We're going to start with Mr. Hernandez is not here. Dr. Alvarez.
I just wanted to thank everybody for your comments. We do listen to what you guys say, and I wanted to thank everybody for your time. I'm really excited about all the great work that we can do working together. Going back to, as I mentioned, the McKinney event with kids, that's a topic that we hadn't really talked about, but I see us being able to fully work together to be able to address that issue. Let's continue the dialogue, even though it seems like it's taking forever to come to resolution, or it seems like we might not be able to come to resolution. Let's just continue engaging in the dialogue. As long as we're willing to meet at the table, we will find a solution. That's all for my comments.
Thank you. Councilmember Mendoza. I'll swing back to you, Councilmember Lopez.
No, thank you, Chair. No, I just want to thank our staff and the school district staff for the work that they're doing and helping advance some of these conversations that haven't been taken care of in the past. It's one of the priorities that I have anyways. And so I appreciate everyone coming together and being patient, because things do take a long time in government, whether we like it or not.
Thank you. I'm going to swing back to Councilmember Mendoza. No, okay. I'm going to go ahead and go. Yeah, thank you, everybody. Thank you to the City Council staff and our district staff. I really do want to shout it again. The city for all the cultural events. Like it's really, it's a big deal. It's a really big deal. We had some events, you know, there was a lot of like cultural events that happened and then they were kind of taken away before the pandemic hit, and then during the pandemic hit, everything just kind of died. And so I'm just hoping that we can bring back a lot more of these events because our community needs it. And I really appreciate the work that the city has been doing to get a lot of these cultural events. And then also our college and career fair was really awesome. Like I went, it was so cool. I stopped at students and they're just like, we loved it. Like they were at the zoo. I think the zoo choice was a good idea. It was just such a cool event. There was thousands. It just kept getting more and more. I know the school district like bused parents. Like it was a huge event, and it was there to look at the zoo, look at community tables, and then all of these colleges and universities there. And it was little kids, big kids. It was a really beautiful event. I know a lot of folks, electeds couldn't make it because there was also a candidate forum. So that was unfortunate timing, but hopefully the next one folks can make it. So if there is no other business, this is the conclusion of the meeting. The next regular meeting will take place Monday, November 7th, 2022 at 6 p.m. The meeting is adjourned at 6:59. Thank you, everybody.